Every team has at least one player that they look up to when the going gets tough and helps them get over that line for the win. Here are the best players from every single team in the NFL this season. Let's start with the team that has the worst record and work our way up. First up, it's Dameon Pierce of the Houston Texans. This season, the rookie running back has dazzled fans with his performances and is a strong consideration for NFL Rookie of the Year. Here are his stats. Pierce has 3 games where he has rushed for over 90 yards and 2 where he has surpassed the 100-yard mark. In the 13 games that he has played, Pierce carried the ball 220 times for 939 yards, scoring 4 touchdowns. Up next, the player that has performed the best for the Denver Broncos has been wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. He leads the team in receiving touchdowns with 6, and no one comes remotely close to that number. His stats on the season: the third-year wideout has 42 receptions for 587 yards and a catch completion percentage of 61.8%. Now that is pretty good considering all of the problems that they have had this season. Next is Justin Fields for the Chicago Bears. This quarterback is having an outstanding season, where he is the true leader of this young team that's in rebuilding mode. Justin Fields so far has 1,896 yards in the air, which has resulted in 13 passing touchdowns, and 905 yards on the ground, which has translated into 8 rushing touchdowns. The next team up is the New Orleans Saints, whose star player must be none other than Alvin Kamara. Despite his personal troubles, Kamara has rediscovered some of the form which made him an elite back. This season he has played in 11 games and has 550 yards from 143 carries and 1 rushing touchdown. He also has 51 receptions for 433 yards and 2 touchdowns. For the Los Angeles Rams, their star player must be Cooper Kupp. The wide receiver leads the team in targets, receptions, and touchdowns. Without him, the Rams would be lost at sea. Kupp's stats on the season are pretty impressive. In just 9 games, he has 75 receptions for 812 yards and 6 touchdowns. Had he been healthy, he certainly would have had higher, more pronounced numbers. As for the Arizona Cardinals, their main guy missed the start of the season due to a suspension. We are, of course, talking about DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins leads the team in receptions with 56 and receiving yards 653, despite missing time. A similar situation is presented to the Indianapolis Colts, who arguably had the most prolific running back in the league by the name of Jonathan Taylor. Taylor and the Colts had a slow start, but still, the running back has managed to come back and produce some excellent numbers. Taylor played 10 games and has carried the ball 192 times for 861, scoring 4 touchdowns. He also has 27 receptions for 130 yards. When it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, their best player is a defender by the name of TJ Watt. He has missed a lot of games due to injury, but when he's back on the field, TJ Watt is a menacing defender. His career numbers are incredible. Last season, he won the Defensive Player of the Year, recording 22.5 sacks, forcing 5 fumbles, and had 3 fumble recoveries. On to the Las Vegas Raiders, where we had a couple of options but decided to go with Devonte Adams as the best player on this team. This season, Adams played in all the games and had 1,247 receiving yards from 82 receptions, scoring 12 touchdowns. He is the man you look for down in the end zone, and Adams tends to always deliver the goods. But when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, this young team has a few good stars worthy of being the best on their team, but we ended up going with quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence has improved from his rookie year, where he has thrown the ball for over 3,200 yards and has a pass completion percentage of 66.2%. He has also got a great touchdown to interception ratio, where he has 20 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. For the Packers, there can be only one man who is the superstar on this team, and that is Aaron Rodgers. The loyal servant of the Green Bay Packers has 22 touchdowns and 9 interceptions on the season, and has a pass completion percentage of 64.3%. However, in Cleveland, there could be some debate as to who is the main guy, but in our eyes, it is running back Nick Chubb. Now, he kept this team relevant and drove fear into the hearts of defenders when he ran with the ball. Chubb has carried the ball 231 times and earned 1,153 yards, scoring 12 touchdowns. For the rebuilding Carolina Panthers, their best player who wasn't traded away or released this season is wide receiver DJ Moore, who might no longer play this season due to injury, but in the 13 games that he did feature in, Moore had 46 receptions for 605 yards, scoring 4 touchdowns. He also leads the team in all of those categories. Okay, so now here is a trickier team, the Atlanta Falcons. A run-first team, so we're going to go ahead with Cordarrelle Patterson, who only played in 9 games and has the most rushing touchdowns on the team with 5. Up next, it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are so dependent on Tom Brady that you have to give him the title of the most influential member on the team. Brady this season has a pass completion percentage of 65.8%, 17 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions this year. As far as the Detroit Lions, their best player is tough to assess, but we will give it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. The wide receiver leads the team in receptions with 82, and in receiving yards with 898, and in receiving touchdowns with 6. For the Tennessee Titans, it is running back Derrick Henry. He leads the team in the rushing department and in fact has been owning that station since he arrived. This season, Henry has 1,199 yards from 275 rush attempts and 11 touchdowns. Up next is the Seattle Seahawks, who owe everything to Geno Smith this season. The way he has been playing will earn him the title of Comeback Player of the Season. His numbers for 2022, a pass completion percentage of 71.5%, the highest of his career, and he also has 25 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. When it concerns the New York Jets, you must be thinking defense, and the best defender this year for them are Quinnen Williams. In 13 games, Williams has recorded 11 sacks, 47 combined tackles, deflected 3 passes, forced 1 fumble, and recovered 1, all as a defensive end. For the New England Patriots, you have to go running back, and well, our pick is Ramondre Stevenson, who leads the team in attempts with 164, in rushing yards with 742, and in rushing touchdowns with 4. As for the Los Angeles Chargers, it can be none other than Austin Ekeler. This season, the running back led the team in rushing yards with 634 and is third in receiving yards with 623. He also has the most touchdowns, whether it's rushing or receiving. He is the offense for the Chargers. Up next is the Washington Commanders and their star wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, who leads the team with 62 receptions and 945 receiving yards. He also is tied for second in receiving touchdowns with 3. Then we have the New York Giants, who, depending on the threat of Saquon Barkley. Now, Barkley this season leads the team in rushing yards with 1,083 and rushing touchdowns with 8. For the Miami Dolphins, their main man is Tyreek Hill, who leads the team in receptions with 100, receiving yards with 1,460, and touchdowns with 6. As for the San Francisco 49ers, it is a toss-up between the running back and the wide receiver, and we went with the wideout, Deebo Samuel. His numbers this year, third in team rushing yards with 228, but tied for first in team rushing touchdowns with 3. In the passing game, he is also second in receptions with 54 and in yards with 612. Up next is Jamar Chase for the Cincinnati Bengals. The wideout is the best player on the team, with all due respect to running back Joe Mixon. Chase has played in 9 games and has 64 receptions for 821 yards and 7 touchdowns. And of course, then we have Lamar Jackson, quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. Jackson this season has 112 attempts on the ground for 764 yards and 3 touchdowns, and when he is throwing the ball, the quarterback produced 2,242 yards and 17 touchdowns. The final 5. For the Vikings, it's Justin Jefferson, maybe the best wide receiver currently in the game. He has 1,500 receiving yards from 99 receptions and 6 touchdowns. For the Kansas City Chiefs, it's Patrick Mahomes. Could have been Travis Kelce, but Mahomes is the guy with his 4,160 yards passing at a pass completion percentage of 65.8, scoring 33 touchdowns. For the Dallas Cowboys, it's the old but new man on the scene, Tony Pollard. The running back is having a phenomenal season, where as a backup, he has 894 yards and 9 touchdowns. For the Buffalo Bills, it is MVP candidate Josh Allen, who has over 3,500 passing yards for 26 touchdowns thrown in the air and 628 yards on the ground, where he scored 6 touchdowns. And finally, it is Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. Also an MVP candidate, Hurts has over 3,100 passing yards and 22 touchdowns, with 686 yards on the ground, where he scored an additional 10 touchdowns. So, what do you think of this list? Who would you have put there instead? Please let us know in the comments down below, but before you go, if you still want to watch some awesome NFL content like this, please watch the next video that will pop on your screen.